bring very much needed monies into the coffers to provide funds for human settlements who are trying to provide desperately needed accommodation and housing opportunities for those in the far south. This particular portion of land, which is a portion of land on the upper mountainside with extensive rock and very steep gradients with no direct access, is difficult to develop. It requires extensive civil works to create a developable platform and will therefore be extraordinarily expensive and unfortunately unaffordable for the much needed gap housing. I therefore propose that we move the adoption of the report.
Thank you. Councillor Simmons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As EFF, we are resolute that land should not be sold for residential purposes, but rather given to the poor people. The first cardinal pillar of EFF is expropriation of land without, I repeat, without compensation for equal redistribution. We have previously appealed to the city that our poor people are in dire need of housing and that land should be given to the people. We are so much well aware of the backlog of housing and stand a waiting list. We are experiencing constant volatile situations because of the needs of housing. We also know that part of the land is a heritage site. It should be preserved as a heritage site. Therefore, that is one of the reasons why we are against the sale of the land. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Sono. Where's the councillor? Thank you. Councillor Sono.
Speaker, the item before us is talking of the sale of a piece of land which is 4,753 square meters for a residential purpose, a single residential zone 1. Then that simply means it's going to be sold to an individual. And with the lack of housing, with the nice speech of the mayor here this morning, to bring our people closer to work. And it's cited here in the report, it's an affluent area. That's where we want our people to be. If we are talking of integration of this country and of our communities. Now, Speaker, according to the size of the earth, my calculation says if that site can be converted for an infill project that is going to accommodate our people. If you give that to an infill, it will give you 67 low-cost units, or if you make it walk-ups, it's going to be 135 units. Isn't that going to assist us in our backlog in housing? Isn't it going to help us bringing our people closer to work? Isn't it going to assist us avoiding a situation where a particular community feels that it owns a particular side of the town? So, as the ANC Speaker, we request this item to be referred back for a further consultation with the people of the area, for a further investigation. The civil works issue that Councillor Patience has spoken about, I don't think it's an issue here, because each and every project, when it's going to be started, there has to be civil works done. And as the DA administration, you gave a lot of civil works to companies that are funding the DA. Some of those sites are lying just like that. You go around the city, you will find
that's an allegation, Speaker.
That have been settled already with civils that are just lying there. I can take you to one or two of them that have been lying there for 3 years and above. So, civils should not be a worry here. The worry here is to accommodate our people and bring our people closer. Recently, we've just approved a piece of land between Plattekloof and Panorama. Why can't we do it on this one? Because it's going to accommodate also a number of people from our areas. Bring our children closer to affluent schools also. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor.
Speaker.
Where is that? Councillor Brown.
Speaker, it's a point of clarity on Councillor Sono's comment.
Yes.
She referred to developers that fund the DA getting preference. If she can expand on that and give us specifics, and if not, if she can withdraw that comment.
Okay. Councillor, a point of clarity. To which speaker? A point of clarity is a point of clarity to somebody's speech and what they've said in that speech. Councillor Sono, Councillor Sakati, Councillor Sakati.
Councillor, I think
To who?
Councillor Patches.
To Alderman Purchase, yes?
Yes. Look, Chairperson, in the report, it is indicated that the money that is going to be derived from the sale of that land is going to be used specifically to build low-cost houses elsewhere, not in that particular area. My question then is that, first of all, is it the norm that whenever that we're actually selling a piece of land, there is this particular condition that a certain department is going to be using, that amount is going to be apportioned to a particular department? And secondly, have we made any consideration in terms of if we rehabilitate that piece of land for the low-cost housing that Councillor Sono is actually doing, it would go a long way in making sure that the integrated city that we're talking about is realized by building low-cost houses? Has that been considered? And I want to move that the position that Councillor Sono is coming up with, that we need to have a thorough investigation about the sale of this particular land so that we can be briefed thoroughly and understand exactly how best can we utilize our monies in that particular space of land. Thanks.
Okay, councillors, I refer you to Rule 32.1.5, the ruling of the Speaker on a point of clarity will be final and shall not be open for discussion. The answer of Councillor Purchase will conclude the debate on this item. Alderman Purchase.
Mr. Speaker, as hard as I've tried over the past years in prayer, I haven't managed to move mountains yet. So the fact of the matter is that for low-cost, affordable housing, and in fact even for gap housing, you need to be able to have economies of scale. Civil works need to be done on relatively flat, accessible land to make it viable that the top structure finally gets developed. Otherwise, we have civil works with land available but no top structure. And we've seen this over and over again in the city. So my answer to the gentleman over there, the councillor, is that this land cannot be used, unfortunately, for low-cost infill housing. The costs are prohibitive. The mountain needs to be reshaped. That kind of construction costs millions just to be able to get to a platform that is developable. And I might say that it's a similar case for the property that's next on the agenda. So we are doing low-cost housing, we are doing gap housing, we are doing infill housing in the valley. This portion of mountain is not desirable and absolutely unaffordable for that kind of development. If it was so, we would have done it. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Mayor.
Speaker, on page 130, Annex E, the response from the Commissioner for Transit-Orientated Development. What we are doing is that since the Transit-Orientated Development Strategy was adopted by this Council, that every single piece of land in the city will look through whether it fits into this transit-orientated development strategy. In this case, the Commissioner says that based on the transit-orientated development strategy, the screening of this earth proposed to be disposed of, the subject property is found to have no TOD potential. Because with the transit-orientated development strategy, we no longer dump people far away from facilities, far away from transport. And in this case, the assessment was made. And I'm satisfied with the assessment made by the Commissioner that they've considered all the relevant criteria linked to transit-orientated development. And also in the city of Cape Town, we don't build low-cost housing because we're talking about poor people. We are building affordable housing.
Thank you. Councillors, that concludes the debate. Are you in favour of the Okay. Thank you, Slater. Thank you. Those in favour of the recommendation? 142. Those against? 49. Abstentions 2. Then the recommendation is accepted by Council.